All right, so post-game analysis against Miami with a 1-1 draw away. What do you think about the result?
Yeah, let's talk about that game. Let's talk about the players' expectations and how we did against Miami, and what do you feel about the game?
Yeah, I mean, instantly, like I said right at the beginning, both teams went into that game needing to win, right? A loss for either side was detrimental. I know TFC going to Miami, like you can be okay with a loss, but with us, it was we need to get out of this drought where we were 6 games winless going into this game, and I mean we came out 7 games winless, but we needed to win and really really showed that, as well as Miami. Miami really needed this win to bounce back against their loss against LAFC and to look forward to their Champions League game.
You know what I found was interesting was we just recently played the top two teams in MLS right now, one being Vancouver, and the other being Miami, and I was able to appreciate both Miami and Vancouver's different playing styles, where Vancouver had that very high press, high speed, high attack, really in your face, give you no movement, no room to breathe. But Miami didn't do that. They didn't. They didn't high press it. So it almost looked like it gave us the ability to develop the play and move the ball up the pitch. But wow, Miami is so dangerous in that attacking third. I mean, they had so many opportunities. But that's where I noticed. So it almost seems like we have the ability to move the ball. We have the players to move the ball. I guess it just showed that we didn't respond well, or we don't respond well to a high pressing team, which hopefully the other teams are not listening to this, because that seems to be the playbook right now. Give us a high press.
Well, I mean, look what we did against two, like you said, high pressing teams. TFC's defense really stepped up. The same back line besides the right back difference, but Rosted, Gomis, and Petretta all had great games against Vancouver, got the clean sheet, and then again, Rosted had the game of his life. It was the best game in a TFC kit for Toronto. Gomis did well, obviously, with that block, and Petretta put in a decent performance. So the boys held up well, especially against Miami and Vancouver, who, like you said, are top of the league, two of the best teams in MLS right now, and they didn't play their substitutes. They played their full team.
Yeah. Miami, they put their best foot forward. This wasn't a tired Miami team. This wasn't a resting team. They put their best team forward. And I mean, the game was back and forth. There was obviously some questionable calls. I mean, if they would have called that handball immediately against Miami, they never would have got that goal almost a minute, 2 minutes later. Although we hit the post, they came close. There was an offside goal. So chances were back and forth. I think the chances were in Miami's favor. I mean, I think they dominated possession and dominated on scoring opportunities. However, they didn't win. All right. So this is, Miami, the proverbial, best team in the league, and they did not beat what the league is classifying the worst team in the league on their own soil. Yeah. So moral victory. I mean, moral victories don't win championships, but I think for the fans, we can appreciate the moral victory. But the players, they got way too much pride, and I know the players, the TFC players felt that they should have won that game, and it was almost there. There. So really good effort.
Like I wouldn't call it like a lucky point. Like that game, regardless, it's not like, oh, it's not a lucky point because we worked hard. It was the game itself, watching as a neutral, looked like an even game. Miami did have a lot more possession and you could say a lot more time to create chances, but we created very similar amount of chances. Like you said, we hit the post twice, came close at the end, had a potential penalty. They had a few goals called back. So in my opinion, it was a very even game.
Yeah. Now, I just wanted to touch on a Bernadeschi and Suarez similarity. I'll touch on that a little bit later, but I just wanted to reiterate what you said about Rostad having, one of his better games. Here we are, Rostad playing in a two-back situation, like a two center back formation, and he is doing well. So he's getting a bit of a groove. He's performing well. It really does help having Gomis there where Rostad lacks. At least Gomis can pick up a little bit of the slack. So yeah, great identification of Rostad. And if you recall from some of our last shorts or podcast was Gomis, right? When he gets the ball, he doesn't just advance the ball in the passing lane. He attacks the passing lane. He moves his body in the passing lane and then gets that ball forward. It's one of the, when you think about it for a second, it doesn't seem like that huge of a skill, but what a difference that makes. He has the ability to get that ball out of their own defensive third and really advance the ball. So he's demonstrated that again. Rostad had another game in that 2 center back formation. I mean, things are looking up defensively.
Yeah, I mean, like you said about Gomes, he's going to do that every time he gets the ball. He's going to body feint, beat a guy, break the line. There was one time or a couple times where it was a little risky. He gave the ball away, but he was trying to get past Messi, and Messi was able to bump the ball off him. What do you expect? I mean, he's still a growing player, but that's a skill that you need to have. Like, I'd rather see a player do that 9 times out of 10, even as a center back, and because it is very impactful offensively, rather than just kicking it up like Rostad does every time. But like you said, I think this 4-back formation in the last 2 games has really been a factor in our performances against 2 of the best teams in the league to only concede 1 goal between the 2 and get 2 points.
Now, I want to ask you a question, right? I mean, watching that game, I mean, I think we all know, Messi is the GOAT, right? Or arguably one of the top 2 that has ever played the game, right? But it almost looked like it was scripted. Now, I'm not saying this is scripted. This is not a fix or anything like that. But is Messi that good that the players are falling over their own feet? Right? They're overcommitting. They're overstretching. Like, is Messi that good?
Yeah, Messi's that good.
I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see how they're just they're reaching and they're falling. I mean, when you look at Messi, his movements are not that quick. That they have to constantly overreach and overstep. Like, is his soccer IQ that intelligent where he knows exactly what speed, where to be at all times? Is that?
I know what you're trying to say. What he's trying to say is that, like, when you watch Messi, it looks scripted because he makes it look so easy. But that's what everybody said about Messi his entire career, is he makes it look easy. Like, you watch any Messi highlight, it just looks easy. But that's what makes good players. Like, that's what good players look like. It makes it look easy.
What I did notice was they almost seem, and I have watched a lot of replays with Messi in the MLS, and I mean, he's great at drawing fouls, and maybe the referees are a little bit biased towards Messi, but well, I find it a little bit comical when players, and especially during last night's game against TFC. Now, you don't want to get too physical with Messi inside the 18. You know you're going to get called. But I just found that they weren't physical with him at all. I mean, they didn't even have a touch presence. When there was a 1v1 situation, right? When it was a 1v1, we have big, lengthy defenders with lots of arm movement, right? And I don't understand why they couldn't just simply push off on a player. I'm not saying obstruction, I'm not saying tug on a shirt, but at least have a hand on, to have a physical presence, to be connected with the player you're defending against, right? So, as an example, if you're defending 1v1, have a little touch there. So when he does make those quick moves, you can sort of, put that player off stride, hold them up for that little, split second, that half second. But I found that they weren't connected to Messi while they were defending.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like, is he that good? Is he that good? Okay.
I mean, if you want to say that, like you said, there was one time that probably nobody remembers in the game. Cozy Thompson stepped up on Messi, and he forced Messi back and back and back, and hand fought, and he ended up winning the ball. So that's Cozy Thompson, a young guy from, I think, Brampton, through TFC's academy, and now is on TFC, and he's doing that to Messi. So maybe, like you said, there is ways to defend him, but
yeah, I think
we shut him down for the most part.
I think Cozy is one of the few TFC prospects or academy players that did not come from Brampton. He might have come
Oh,
from
Scarborough?
Scarborough or, yeah, Markham or something like that. Could be wrong. Correct us if we're wrong, right? Let us know. So, yeah, interesting game. Now, did want to make a point. Again, what I've noticed on social media, and the other pundits talking about Toronto FC, it's just like, even Apple TV at the beginning of the game, you hear, again, I don't know, these commentators, these pundits, they're talking shit about Insigne. But as the game went on and the stats, they don't lie, they started to reveal themselves. The commentators started to change their tune. Oh, wow, look at Insigne. He's making significant passes. He was 2 yards.
Covered the most ground.
Covered the most ground. I think in the previous game, he was 2 yards shy. And I'm just going off memory here of what they were saying on Apple TV. 2 yards shy of the most...
mileage in the game.
Yeah, most mileage in the game. And second to Osorio, right? And I think in this game, they acknowledged that he ran the most, right?
Again, played a full 90 minutes.
What happened to the injury-prone Insigne, the person that doesn't fit the system, the person that's overpaid, all this nonsense about Insigne. But third game in a row, playing the entire game, and he's playing his game. He's not going to be the person that comes back and defends. That's not his style. He's going to be that high press, right? He's going to be that dual number 9 in the high press. They get 8 players behind the ball, and they shift with the number 9, and I guess, I don't know if you want to call Insigne number 10 at that point, but he shifts with the number 9, holding up that center line and making sure they don't make that first pass out. That's his game. That's what he's always done. And Robin Fraser is adopting that. Now, midway through the game, they started softening up their tone with Insigne. Oh wow, he's actually playing a lot better. And social media been noticing that too. People are like, well, I guess Insigne's not that bad. However, I'm going to agree with this one topic, and that's, just with what he's doing, yes, it's still an overpayment. We are still not getting the best value for our dollar. But like I've said before, we've already put our money out there, play the person, and what's happening? He's becoming more and more effective. He's making those significant passes, right? And he's been involved with the goals that we've scored in the last few games, right? So he made the significant pass to Etienne, which made the ball cross it to Kerr. Kerr headed it in, right? Made a lot of significant passes. And this one here, he made that through ball pass to Bernadeschi, and he scored the goal.
Yeah, Insigne's, he's found his role as that free roam number 10, like Pozuelo. Like Pozuelo used to do, kind of just run around everywhere. But obviously, he's a significantly worse Pozuelo and a significantly worse Messi. Like Messi, Pozuelo, Insigne, very similar play styles, basically playing the same position, just running around wherever they want to get that ball. But Insigne out of the 3 is the worst. But we're stuck with him, so he's going to do that. There's a lot of unforced errors he made and a lot of good plays he made. So, he's going to be growing with the team. This game, every single player had a better game than they have been, except for maybe the odd couple that didn't have the best game. But as a team, as a whole, they all improved, and that includes guys like Insigne and Bernadeschi, who haven't been doing anything.
Yeah.
Like Bernadeschi has been practically ineffective every other game before this one. And now he goes in, he almost scores a second goal. He scores a crazy goal by skinning the Miami defense and defending, coming all the way back into our own box to defend like we looked at last year. So the entire team, and especially our big players, stepped up this game to get the point and almost a win.
Yeah, now you ask yourself, is everyone has, for the longest time, everyone's been harping on Bernadeschi, but you look at a player like Bernadeschi, he's done everything the coaching staff has asked him to do. At times, is he a little bit too selfish with the ball, trying to beat too many players, and he gets caught up? Absolutely. But look at what he does. He goes from goal line to goal line, defending, trying to score, moving the ball. This guy's an absolute horse out there, wears his heart on his sleeve. You look at Bernadeschi, do we want more goals from our designated players? Absolutely. That's what we want. We want goals, we want wins, we want championships. But we have Bernadeschi. He's a piece of the puzzle. And again, with Insigne, right? You're Robin Fraser, and you're looking down that roster list. Who is your best starting 11? And I cannot see Insigne playing himself out of a position yet, nor do I see anyone on that squad fighting for that position. There's no one on that squad right now that can replace Insigne off the pitch, right? At least take over that starting 11 role. So hopefully this Saturday, is against Minnesota we play?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's Minnesota. Don't know. But anyways, this Saturday coming up in that game, I'm hoping we see a really good starting 11 with Insigne out there.
Yeah, and the most important part of next game is we have to build off this game against Miami. We need to have the same performance, if not better. That needs to be the standard now, because TFC for these past years and for this beginning of the season, the standard has been way too low, and people have been way too complacent with these draws and losses. But no, this was an excellent performance, and they need to start building and getting better from this. Like, do you know how many chances we've had that we missed? Like with Corbiano hitting the post twice, missing a header here or there, missing a tap in. We had those same amount of chances that Miami missed, and Miami are upset that they only got a point, whereas we're happy we put in a good performance, right? So we need to be that team that's going to be upset that we're not beating these teams, not the team that's glad we're getting a point. So from this game, we're going to get more offensive opportunities and start to put some away and get some wins. And one big thing I noticed from the game is once we got a good chance in front of the net, especially guys like Corbiano or Insigne, once they look at the net, they look like a deer in headlights. It's like, oh my God, I've never seen this opportunity before. Miami, we opened up Miami and gave ourselves more opportunities than we've had all season, and good opportunities. And we kind of just cracked under pressure and froze. So we need to build off that, get more comfortable around goal, and then you'll start seeing the goals go in.
Yeah. So that was a good starting 11, and the team has been improving, but we were able to see the first sighting of
Brent Hilton?
No, not Brent Hilton. I was going to say our
Dominguez?
Yeah. Maxime Dominguez. So what were your thoughts on him?
You can't really judge him, but to me, he didn't look anything special. He looked like if you were to just sub in Longstaff. Like, you look like you make him Longstaff, he looked the exact same, but again, you can't judge him. He's just starting to play with these guys. He looked a little bit slow, but I think once we start working him with him in the plays, I think bringing in a fresh face who's familiar with the sighted goal can help us get more chances and be more clinical. But I'm still not exactly sure where he'll fit into this team formation wise.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I read something on I think it was the Canadian Press or something like that, and they said, "Wow, Dominguez showed some flashes of brilliance." I'm like, "What game were they watching?" I didn't see anything from this guy. I don't even think he hardly touched the ball, and when he did, he lost it. I didn't see anything from him, but that's not an indication of his skills. I mean, however, to me he looked more nervous than anything else, because I remember when Brent Hilson's his first game, he had fire. Maybe it's easier for a striker to just go and rom and chase, and maybe it's a little bit easier, but when you're playing in a central role, maybe you have to be more clinical, tactical, and more reserved. But you know what? He's going to have, Dominguez is going to have a week under his belt with the new club, get more familiar. Maybe he starts, right? Maybe he starts ahead of Coelho, and if we can play him with Osorio in there, and who knows? Maybe.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Back to that midfield point, I really enjoyed watching this midfield of Flores, Osorio, and Insigne. As much as people might say either of those players didn't have the greatest game, but we need that balance. And Dominguez, I feel, is like another Osorio or an Insigne type player, a number 8/10 that's not too fast or defensive, but he's definitely technical on the ball and can advance it forward. So Flores is our only true 6 at the moment. Coelho and Longstaff are 8s and 10s. Nothing. They don't have that defensive qualities that Flores has, and a lot of other defensive midfielders have in the MLS. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Dominguez can be that guy. But for me, if we want to keep that midfield balance, like we saw against Vancouver when we subbed in Flores, and now against Miami, we need to keep Flores in there for the time being.
Yeah, I think so you're right. I mean, I think Fraser is he's starting to put his best starting 11 out there, and then following that game, he is making those adjustments where he's putting in, those those players that did not have a good game, they may not be starting. So I'm noticing he's putting, the best 10 players out there, and he may change up one or two. He's giving minutes to the players. He's not waiting till the 70th or 80th minute. He's trying to get them in close to like after that 60-minute mark. So he's giving his bench players a little bit more minutes, and he is putting his best starting 11 out there. However, okay, I need to point out something in yesterday's game. Okay, I need to point out, and we've seen this before. We've seen it last year with Mavinga. Or not last year with Mavinga, but the last time Mavinga wore a TFC shirt. And I know Mavinga bleeds red now, but if we recall how Mavinga was playing in his last few games, right? What were your thoughts? Because I have my opinions on what Cozy Thompson did, right, on that game. What were your thoughts on that?
All my thoughts were is he made a mistake, and that's it. But what he's alluding to is there was an instance when with Mavinga where he had gave the ball away, and instead of chasing back to get that ball back, he not going to say faked an injury, but went down injured and came off. Whatever. But Cozy Thompson kind of mirrored that with his giveaway. He gave the ball away. Like, what? Big deal. He gave the ball away. He's a young player. Yeah, sure. You're right. That shouldn't happen, but mistakes happen, and every team, every player makes mistakes, whether it's passing the ball, whether it's not marking a guy. But he went down injured. I mean, he did come off injured before that, but it's just a natural response of making an excuse for your giveaway.
I call bullshit. Cozy Thompson, his body was square to the player that he gave the ball to. He followed through with that horrible pass. And all of a sudden, when he realized that he gave the ball directly to the other player, he went down with an injury. I'm sorry, Cozy. You know what? You work hard out there, but that was
a mistake.
That was a huge mistake. But are you trying to insult the fans by going down with an injury, and that's what made that pass happen? Are you kidding me? Like, you can see it clear as day. Okay, it was clear as day. He gave the ball away. Now, it's funny because, when I was watching the game, on TV, maybe it's a little bit different, maybe with the lights. When you're looking at the shirts, the pink and the white, especially with the white with a little bit of
color thing.
No, I'm just saying, like, maybe there wasn't that much of a contrast. Like, let's say if a team was black versus white, maybe it was enough of a contrast. But he was square to the player. He gave the ball away and went down with an injury. Look, no matter what happens after you so assuming that that Cozy wasn't injured, right? You give the ball away. It's a giveaway. Don't go down with an injury, right? And try to preserve your self-esteem. Get on your horse and get back there as fast as you can. We are lucky. There's one thing to give the ball away and to score, but we almost lost Gomis. That guy had to make the splits like Gumby. Right? He had one leg this way, one leg that way. I mean, he was playing soccer and doing yoga at the same time, right? But with that simple mistake and with not getting back, right, we almost lost. Not only was it almost a goal, but we almost lost Gomis to an injury.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we were very lucky that it happened to be that Mbando guy, whatever his name is. He made his debut, actually, that young striker for Miami, but he completely screwed that up. Like, I don't know how. Took a horrible touch, and then, I mean, he still almost squeezed it through Johnson, but it was a heroic effort at defense. But I don't know, like, you don't know the whole story. I mean, Cozy Thompson, he should have been subbed off when he was hurt, but he said, I want to play on, and then he played on and did that. So, yes, you're right. It is his fault that he's continued to play on with his injury, and then give the ball away and then call it that, right? So giving the ball away has nothing to do with your injury. It's if you're not able to track.
Yeah, but
right?
am I missing something? So he was injured prior to that giveaway?
Yes. He came off injured, like he was on the sideline, and then he went back on the field.
All right, I missed that, right? I mean, if it's legitimate...
But it's still his fault because he pushed through the injury. But again, injuries don't make you give the ball away. Injuries make you not able to run or do something like that.
All right, okay, that's fine. But my next comment on Cozy Thompson, right? This is not me hating on Cozy Thompson. This is not about that. But I don't see any qualities in him that makes him a starter. Like, what is... so I want to know, like, is he physical? Is he fast? Can he move the ball? Is he good defensively? Like, I don't see anything. To me, he seems like a utility player. Maybe he can play at center back. Maybe he can play at right back. Maybe he can play in the midfield. I mean, great player to have off the bench, right? I mean, one of those utility players can play multiple positions. I think any team is great to have that asset.
Well, like, he is off the bench.
No, I understand that. And who would take his place normally?
Okay, you have
Richie.
Correa.
Richie.
Wingo.
Right, Richie and Wingo.
You could argue he's the third choice right back.
Right. I just think, right. So when he went off with the injury, who went and replaced him was Franklin, right? So
who I think is being underutilized.
That's kind of like where I was going with this. I thought, like, when I saw Cozy Thompson start, I wasn't too sure if he really earned that position. I didn't understand what was his best quality that gave him the edge over Franklin. Now, I know Cozy Thompson.
I think I know.
Well, Cozy Thompson has been playing more minutes, so maybe you go with the flow. But I'd like to see next game, because Larea's not going to be back, and Wingo's not going to be back. And hopefully this is not a serious injury with Cozy Thompson, but I'd like to see Franklin in that spot.
I think it's just a cramp, but I mean, you asked for Cozy Thompson's qualities. He's got pace to get back, like Franklin, but Franklin doesn't have is his size. So Cozy Thompson has a bigger frame. He was able to lock down Jonathan Bamba and pretty much lock down Jordi Alba and defend Messi very well. So he's proven himself and has played a lot of minutes to defend these guys. Is he going to give the ball away? Yeah. Will Franklin give the ball away? Yeah. Has Insigne given the ball away a lot? Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of players do have these things, but this season I have seen a big breakout from Thompson. Again, obviously he's our third choice right back, and I'm not advocating for him to be a starter, but he's starting to fit in with the team better. And I mean, hopefully that means another team will pick him up on a loan or something. You know what I mean?
Franklin logged a lot of minutes for us while Larea was injured now, and people last year, and everyone hot water thing, right? So and Franklin logged a lot of minutes, right? He logged a lot of minutes, and it was great having him. I gotta stop that. I gotta unplug that because that's gonna be loud.